GardensChevy.com. Gardens Casino, right off the 605 freeway in Carson Street, or visit them at GardensCasino.com. Land Rover USC Game Day continues now.
Welcome back, everybody, to Land Rover Trojan Game Day. I'm Ron Pivo, along with the coach Harvey Hyde. Kickoff in about 3 hours from the Holiday Bowl. It's USC and Nebraska. Steve Mason's going to be on the air with us in about, hopefully he'll be here in about 30, 40 minutes. If not, he'll be here for sure at the top of the hour at 3 o'clock. We don't know where Steve is. He's on vacation. He's getting ready for the game. As far as Arizona State and Duke, they're playing in the Sun Bowl right now. 30-17, Arizona State on top. Duke is in the red zone. They're at the 13-yard line, so let's see if Duke can make it a game. So, Coach, let's step back a little bit. I think all of us have had about a month breather to kind of look back at this season. This has been the first season for Steve Sarkisian coming down from Seattle, Washington Huskies. He's put together an 8-4 season. Easily could have been 9-3 if not for a Hail Mary that Arizona State somehow pulled off at the Coliseum. It could have even been better at 10-2 if not for a Utah victory in the last minute up at Salt Lake City. That was a game that SC was playing terrific, but somehow Utah went on that last drive and scored. So I think 10-2 would have been pretty amazing. 9-3 would have been very good. 8-4, there's some games that they played really, really well. There's other games like Boston College where you'd certainly like a mulligan. Take a look back at the year. I think it's really hard for coaches to take over programs, and these are players, even though they're fantastic players, and everyone would have liked to have, had Leonard Williams waiting for him when he takes the job, or Cody Kessler, or Buck Allen, Sua Craven. I mean, there's a lot of guys, a lot of coaches that would have liked this job. But what do you make of the job that Steve Sarkisian has done this year?
Well, you mentioned it. You'll always think about a season of what it could have been. You always will go back on that. As a football coach myself, I even used to do that. I used to look at our season at the end and evaluate everything, evaluate all my coaches, players, and look at the games we lost, not the games we won. And this is what's going to happen, as you just mentioned it now, on the USC program. This year, you'll always go back and you say, we should have won this game. We should have won that game. If we'd have done this, if we'd had better time management, if we had better game management, if we'd have made that one first down against Utah, if we'd had better containment when Travis Wilson ran around the corner for University of Utah, if we'd have just done this. But then you also have to say, too, what if the Arizona guy would have made the field goal?
Right.
And then you have to also say at Stanford, we won, but we were fortunate. So you've got to look at the whole season as a whole and say, how do we end up? So as a coach, looking at how Steve Sarkisian did this year, I think, first of all, he came in with a situation of a lot of people were saying, I want to wait and see. I'm not sure how many people said, this is our guy. This is the guy. Because he came in following a very unpopular type of firing of Ed Orgeron. Or not firing, but saying, you didn't get the job, Ed. The team started negatively. They were crying when Coach Orgeron left. So he had to build back their confidence. He had to start back and saying, this is who we are. And start the whole season with that type of process. A new offense, a new defense, a hurry-up type of offense. So many changes that people had to look at within the Trojan football program. It wasn't the same as it was the year before or for years with the student body right and student body left. And a lot of people had to be convinced, is a no-huddle offense what SC wants? And I still think there's a period, a bunch of people that still say, no, it's not what we want. So I think today you're going to see a hurry offense, hurry-up offense. I really think that Nebraska will have a problem seeing that and will be able or stopping that, and we'll see today just what this year has become or what it's going to end like. And I think today's game is going to be either a positive season when you go into the offseason with 2 big wins, a bowl game, and a Notre Dame victory into recruiting and whatever needs to happen, and it'll sort of dot the I on the first year of Coach Steve Sarkisian.
I tell you, you're right. I mean, when you think of the records, 9-4 sounds a whole lot better than 8-5, because when you go 8-5, you start to examine those 5 losses, and you're like, holy cow, let's look back. 9-4, very acceptable. And fortunately or unfortunately, coaches like Steve Sarkisian are regarded and looked at as their record. No one, he was 500 at Washington, yeah, but he took over a program that was in complete disarray. You take over a program that is strong and you start to go 6-7, people wonder, oh my God, he's not a good coach. But you really have to look back what happened the previous year, what players were hurt. Nebraska's best player, who's going to be, I think, healthy today and playing, Amir Abdullah, well, he was a Heisman Trophy contender in October. And then he gets hurt and he ran for like 240 yards in 4 games in November, and no one looks at that. They just look at, well, what happened? He only ran for 76 yards. Yeah, the guy had a bad knee. So you're right. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances. The Coach's Corner was brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, and sports. Let's talk about Cody Kessler, who has just put up a terrific numbers this year, Coach. 36 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He's had some great wide receivers that he has, Juju Smith, Nelson Aguilar. Let me ask you this. If you were to name the top 16 college quarterbacks this year in the country, would you or would you not name Cody Kessler as one of them?
Definitely. Definitely I would. I tell you, just look at USC. What would USC be without Cody Kessler this year? I mean, he's a leader. He's a winner. He ran the whole field. I kept saying the whole year they should huddle up just because he's such a leader. He'd look at these young pups that are playing on the offensive line and some of these receivers, and if they had another question, he could answer it. If they had a question on the call, or he could give them a little word of wisdom. Hey, guys, if we get this first down on this play, we win this football game. He's that type of competitor. He's a competitor. I'll tell you, people are still talking about, oh, yeah, but he didn't have a great game against some of the teams that were ranked and all this and that. People just make up reasons like that. I mean, that's when you play better teams, you don't have as good of numbers. It just makes sense. But I think he's a great player. I hope he comes back. Without Cody, I don't know what type of season USC would have had, especially on offense.
There's a reason I ask you that. Cody Kessler, 36 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions this year. He broke the school record for pass efficiency, which was held by Mark Sanchez. And the only reason that I bring that up, Coach, is the fact that he was not named one of the 16 finalists for the Davey O'Brien Quarterback Award. Okay? Guys like Clint Trickett of West Virginia was one of the 16 finalists. Guys like Jake Waters from Kansas State were finalists in the Davey O'Brien quarterback, basically the best quarterback in the country. Clint Trickett might be a good player. He just retired. He had concussion issues this year. Right. Surprised the heck out of me that Cody Kessler was not named one of the 16 finalists for the Davey O'Brien Award.
Well, it depends how the voting goes on this, Ron. Depends, like you take the West Coast, and they have so many great quarterbacks like Marcus Mariota and these other quarterbacks in the West that it sort of splits up the voting. And he doesn't get the number of votes because most of them went to you-know-who. So he's one of the top 16 quarterbacks in America. And I don't know who. If you really looked at the real picture and you really looked at the drafting and all of that, he would be in the top 16, okay?
Well,
I don't know who these guys are who are doing the voting anyway. They're probably pencil pushers anyway. I don't know who they are. But if you were a coach drafting and wanting to take a quarterback in college football, he'd be one I'd take.
I mean, if you give Cody Kessler time, that's the whole thing. And we could talk about when we break it down a little bit. When you give Cody Kessler time, like against Notre Dame, he can pick any defense apart. And for Cody Kessler not to be one of the 16 finalists for this award, you know what? It just doesn't make the award look good. And I don't know who these guys are. I don't know if there's a straw poll. I don't know if these guys are watching games. Maybe they're asleep on the East Coast when the West Coast games are on. I have no idea. But to not put Cody Kessler on the Davey O'Brien, the finals, it's kind of ridiculous.
I like to see you get fired up a little bit, Ron.
Well, you know what?
I would like to see you get fired. He's got a little spirit with him today.
I just don't like when the obvious, when you look at the eye test and the eye test doesn't work. It's ridiculous. I mean, don't dirty the Davey O'Brien Award by not putting a guy who deservedly belongs to be on that list. Don't do it. I mean, Amir Abdullah, one of the best running backs in the country. He has to be on the Doak Walker list. It's just obvious. Guys, watch the games. That's all I'm asking. Just watch the games. And if if your bedtime is 7:00 and you're on the East, DVR it and watch it on Sundays. That's it. That's all I ask.
All right, Ron.
All right.
I want you to calm down now. I want you to calm down.
All right.
I want you to get carried away. But
I'm fine.
Tommy Armstrong, the quarterback for Nebraska, 19 touchdown passes, 11 interceptions. We'll talk about that later.
We will. The BMW Quarterback Spotlight brought to you by your Southern California BMW Centers for a center near you. please visit SoCalBMW.com. And the LA Car Guy, the touchdowns for Akir in 2014, ESPN LA and LA Car Guy will be teaming to raise money to cure cystic fibrosis. For every touchdown USC scores this year, offense or defense, LA Car Guy will donate $300 to Pipeline to a Cure. Currently, we have raised $17,100 this year. Find out more about the important link between surfing and cystic fibrosis at lacarguy.com/cure. That's lacarguy.com/cure. Coming up after the break, we're going to take a glimpse at the future and also the 2015 season. He's the coach, Harvey Hyde. I'm Ron Pivo, and we are listening to Land Rover Trojan Game Day.
Deep Eddy Vodka, made with real premium ingredients, reminding you to please stay drink responsibly. Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut invites you to savor the flavor with 2 medium pizzas for just $6.99 each at pizzahut.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Land Rover Trojan Game Day. I'm Ron Pivo, along with the coach, Harvey Hyde. Update from the Sun Bowl, where Duke is now threatening to go up on Arizona State with about 6-7 minutes left to go in the game. I think that was a fake punt that brought Duke to the 20-yard line, so the momentum is definitely on the Blue Devils' side. We are now joined by Gary Paskowitz from WeAreSC.com. Oh, it was an
Good afternoon, guys.
Interception interception by Arizona State. Getting people talking in my ears. Gary, it's great to see you. You're down at the game, right?
I am here in the press box right now, looking down on the field, ready to go.
Oh my! You sound like you're in the room next to us. That's why I asked.
No, we are. It's a beautiful day down here at Qualcomm Stadium. I'll tell you that. It's going to be a little chilly tonight, but going to be a great setting for football.
Well, let me ask you this, Gary. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of the game because Coach and I have been tiptoeing all around it. If you give Cody Kessler time to throw, he can really pick anybody off. The games that Cody has struggled and the Trojans have struggled have been the losses. They've been Boston College. It's been UCLA. As you see it, if the offensive line gives Cody time to find Nelson Aguilar, Juju Smith, George Farmer, all those guys, is that the key to the game or just one of several, do you think?
Oh, I think it's as much of a key as anything for the Trojans. When you look at the Nebraska defense, they are very strong up front. The Trojan coaches have said this is probably going to be the best front line that USC has seen this year. But if you look back into the secondary, that Nebraska pass defense in the Big Ten, they haven't seen what the Trojans are going to be showing on the field tonight. And so, yeah, if Kessler can get back and get into a rhythm like he did at that Notre Dame game, boy, he can be so effective when he's spreading the ball around to all the weapons and making things happen. You said a good point. The offensive line needs to give him time, but if they do, I really think this is going to be the kind of game tonight that Cody Kessler can kind of set the stage for next year with a big performance tonight.
Gary, happy holidays, buddy.
To you as well, Coach. Great to hear you.
Sort of set the atmosphere for me down there in San Diego. The atmosphere itself, a lot of Trojan fans, not too many Nebraska fans.
This is Nebraska's third trip in the last 5 years, I think. So the Nebraska fans have been down here, but don't be wrong, Coach. There is plenty of red down here when you're walking around down near the Omni and Petco Park where we're staying. There are plenty of Nebraska fans here, and this place is going to be full tonight. This is one of those games. There's usually 60 to 70,000 people in the stadium, and there's going to be a lot of Trojans coming down. I heard upwards of 10,000 tickets were sold out. So there's going to be a good atmosphere tonight.
Gary, my feeling on this game is I think Nebraska's got great football tradition, but I don't think they've played the level of competition that USC has played as far as weekly. I mean, playing in the Pac-12 this year is not like playing in the Big Ten. My feeling is I don't think they've seen team speed like this anywhere in the Big Ten or anywhere this season in the records on the teams they played.
Well, Coach, that's going to be, I think, an advantage that SC is going to have against a lot of people is the USC talent is going to be better than what the opposition is putting on the field. But I think you're right. The one thing that in talking to a lot of the USC players, they are fired up about playing Nebraska. This is a big-name team in the bowl game that you're going to face. With all due respect to a Fresno State or a Georgia Tech who SC has played in recent bowl games, you're going in to play the Cornhuskers in this game tonight. You can tell in talking to the USC players, that gets them a little fired up.
And what about this, the Holiday Bowl? I'm just looking at a stat here, Gary. I don't know if you're aware of this. The last 3 years, the Pac-12 team has lost in the Holiday Bowl. ASU got beat by Texas Tech last year. They stunk it up. UCLA got beat by Baylor. They sort of stunk it up. And I hate to say this, Cal got beat by Texas. The last Pac-12 team to win there was Steve Sarkisian with Washington.
How ironic is that? Yeah, but that's what I like, Coach. This is the first year that you're doing the Pac-12 Big Ten in this game, so you're kind of having a Rose Bowl type of flavor to this game. But I think this is a chance for really the Trojans, not only for the Pac-12, but this is so important in so many ways, Coach, as you well know, to finish this season off right, as much as any you can remember in a while. This team really needs to finish this year strong. It would be such a positive step to really come out and close this game well tonight.
We're talking to Gary Paskowitz from WeAreSC.com. We have talked about that earlier, Gary, is that fact that it's so much more important, in my opinion, for Steve Sarkisian and the Trojans to come out with a win, go momentum into recruiting, momentum into spring practice, all that stuff. And for Nebraska, yeah, it'd be nice to get that 10th win, but then again, Mike Riley basically, moves in tomorrow. So, the slate is wiped clean and the Bo Pelini era is behind us. But there's a couple of guys I would like to talk about in regards to this game. And in my opinion, there's two guys that are going to be front and center who have to be two of the more underrated players in the country in Cody Kessler and Nebraska running back Amir Abdullah. Cody Kessler had a terrific year where he 36 touchdowns, he only threw 4 interceptions, and Coach and I talked about a few minutes ago, he wasn't even one of the finalists for the Davey O'Brien Coaches Award. And Amir Abdullah, he's run for more than 4,000 yards in his career. I mean, his numbers are ridiculous. It was injured in November, but he still ran for 1,500 yards this year, 1,700 yards last year, and 1,100 yards as a sophomore. These are guys who are flying under the radar, but if you follow college football, these are two of the real bright stars. Would you agree with that?
I would agree, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing Abdullah tonight because, by all accounts, he's fairly healthy after that injury suffered at the beginning of November. But the stat that really jumps out to me on him, he is second on the Nebraska career rushing list behind Mike Rozier. Now, the Nebraska Cornhusher all-time rushing list is a pretty impressive list of people that have played for that school. And when you're only behind a Heisman Trophy winner, you're doing something well. And if you think about it, he was hampered the whole last month of the season. And if he wasn't, he probably gets over 2,000 yards this year. So this is a very good running back the Trojans are facing tonight. And then as far as Kessler, there was a really good article on ESPN.com this week talking about is Cody Kessler one of the more underrated players in the country. And the numbers were laid out in terms of how he's done this year and his connection with Nelson Aguilar and the job he's done there. And when you really start looking at the numbers, it's staggering that he wasn't on the finalist list for a Davey O'Brien, no doubt about that. But when you really take a look at them, they're really comparable to pretty much anyone in the country not named Marcus Mariota.
Gary, let me mention this. First of all, Amir Abdullah is a great player, okay? I've seen him play in person. And so is Tony Armstrong as far as running the football. But I don't know if they have enough surrounding those guys as far as to beat USC. USC's got to penetrate and play on their side of the ball and stop it before it gets started. But you being so big into recruiting, how important is this game to USC as far as winning this football game, finishing with a Notre Dame victory, a Holiday Bowl victory over Nebraska, and then rolling into signing day?
Coach, you know how big it is. This game is a Saturday night showcase, ESPN. You're going to imagine pretty much every recruit that USC is going after is going to be watching the game tonight. So, yeah, you want to send things off for this last month of recruiting on a very, very good note. The Trojans have about 7 scholarships remaining, plenty of good players out there to still slide over to USC side. And we saw last year with Steve Sarkisian, he can close on signing day in recruiting. We know he can do that. And so, like you say, you built that good momentum with Notre Dame. I think that's what's so key is this last month has been a lot of good feeling for Trojan fans coming off that Notre Dame game. Now you really want to build on that tonight and send this thing off for the final month because so many recruits are going to be watching this one.
All right, Gary, tell me. I'm running off the field. It's halftime. My recruiting coordinator is going to bring me a cell phone, okay? Who am I calling?
Iman Biggie Marshall. You need that big corner from Long Beach Poly to pair on the other side of a Dory Jackson. Coach, you get a Dory Jackson and Biggie Marshall as your 2 starting corners. I don't know who's going to be throwing the ball in the Trojans the next few years.
I'll tell you, you said the right thing. I'll tell you, when you can cover, you can play. And I think they'll have 2 great corners. Not that they don't have some great corners now on the roster.
The week that was.
No, that would be my call at halftime.
The week that was is brought to you by U.S. Bank. At U.S. Bank, we're pleased to champion athletic programs that enrich the quality of life for everyone. U.S. Bank, all of us serving you. Hey, Gary, thanks so much for your time. Hey, thanks all year round. I finally got to meet you in person before that Notre Dame game and love the site and love everything that you do about it.
Hey, thanks, guys. Let's have a good one tonight.
Okay, have a good game.
Thanks, buddy.
Gary Paskowitz, wearesc.com. Great website, great guy, great insight. Really appreciate him stopping by every week. He's been here every week for us, and wonderful. AMCO, USC football driven by AMCO, transmissions, and a whole lot more. Well, Coach, we only got a half hour left. I know we're going to get to your playbook eventually, and I hope your playbook this week, even though it's a bowl game, I hope it's not like 20 minutes long because we do have other stuff we need to cover.
Doesn't take a lot. You just got to do it right, okay?
It's short. It's crisp. It's like those Cliff Notes we used to get out in high school. You know, you do the Odyssey from Homer into about 10 pages. That's what I like. Okay. He's the Coach Harvey Hyde. I'm Ron Pivo. You're listening to the Land Rover Trojan Game Day.
Invite you to savor the flavor with 2 medium pizzas for just $6.99 each at pizzahut.com.
This is Land Rover Trojan Game Day. USC Trojans, Nebraska Cornhuskers kicking off at Qualcomm Stadium, 5 o'clock. I'm Ron Pivo. He's the Coach Harvey Hyde. At the Sun Bowl, it's getting wild and woolly. Arizona State has now taken the lead over Duke. It looks like they're going to go for 2, but it's 36-31 with about 4 minutes left. Chevy on the road. Celebrate Chevy's year-end event with incredible deals at your Southern California Chevy dealer. But hurry, it all ends January 2nd. Get the kids, get the neighbors. Coach Harvey Hyde and his playbook is coming up after the break. I'm Ron Pivo, and this is Land Rover Trojan Game Day.
Near you, visit SoCalBMW.com. Deep Eddy Vodka, made with real premium ingredients. Reminding you to please stay drink responsibly. Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut invites you to savor the flavor with 2 medium pizzas for just $6.99 each at pizzahut.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Land Rover Trojan Game Day. Ron Pivo along with the Coach Harvey Hyde. Wine lovers and tailgaters, Stormhook Premium Wines allow you to have the taste and quality of great wine without corkscrews, bottles, or glasses. Stormhook available now for your next pregame tailgate. Coach, I'm not a bettor, but I do know that this is going to be a high-scoring game. If Brent Musburger can say it on national TV and talk about the betting lines, so can I. USC, one of the top offenses in the country. Nebraska, one of the top offenses. I think USC averages about 37 points a game. Nebraska, 35. High-scoring, low-scoring, or somewhere in between?
Well, I think it'll be high-scoring, but I think that USC will dominate the football game. They've got to get off to a quick start, and they've done that the entire year, outscoring everyone in the first quarter 157 points to 36. So I really think that SC's got too much team speed. I know that if I'm USC, I'm going to attack their strength, first of all, which is their secondary. They're one of the top secondaries in the Big Ten and in the country as far as giving up passes. I think they've only given up 40% completion against them. So I'm going to go after them. I'm going to spread the field. I'm going to see how good are you. I'm going to see, are you good enough to match up with Bryce Dixon, our tight end, and Telford, and our great receivers? Are you that good or not? And I think by doing that, I'd also make Allen a receiver. I'd give it to him completely. Go after him so that their defensive line, which is so physical, will worry about the pass more and come up the field and wear them out, and then the running game will start. I really do. I don't think you can come right out and start to run the football against them because I think they're pretty dominant. But I would match up on them. I'd really go after them on the defensive side of the football. I mean, you got to stop Abdullah and you got to stop Armstrong. I'd make them pass the ball to beat me. Pass the ball to beat me. So they've got receivers that have done big completions as far as the 3 of their guys have averaged over 10 yards per catch, but he's thrown for 19 touchdowns and 11 interceptions the entire year.
Very pedestrian.
Yeah, so I'd say you're gonna throw the football to beat us. I'd jump in the box. I'd get 8 in the box. I'd be careful not to fall for a fake. They're gonna run power offense at you, and they're gonna run option offense at you. They're gonna know what people have hurt you with, and that's what they're gonna do. But I'll tell you, I'd be very disappointed if I don't see USC utilize their team speed offensively and defensively against Nebraska, especially on the defensive line. I'd give them every look, and I'd go after them.
Coach Harvey Hyde's playbook is brought to you by Pizza Hut, taking pizza where it's never been before with our new Flavor of Now menu. Get 2 medium Flavor of Now pizzas and total of 4 toppings for just $6.99 each. Get it at pizzahut.com, and it looks like the Pac-12 is going to go 2-0 so far in the bowl games as Arizona State just intercepted Duke in the end zone with under a minute left. 36-31 is going to be the final. Todd Graham is going to get a 10-win season for the second straight year. Garden Casino's best bet. The best bet is brought to you by the Gardens Casino. For the best in Hold'em, Blackjack, and Baccarat, visit the Gardens Casino off the 605 and Carson Street. Get your game on. But if you have problem gambling, got to call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please play responsibly. Coming on up, we got one more segment to go with the coach and I. It's USC and Nebraska in the Holiday Bowl. Kickoffs at 5 o'clock. Coming up after the break, one more. This is Ron Pivo along with the coach Harvey Hyde. You're listening to Land Rover Trojan Game Day.
Savor the flavor with 2 medium pizzas for just $6.99 each at pizzahut.com.
Welcome back to Land Rover Trojan Game Day. Ron Pivo along with the coach Harvey Hyde. Kickoff between Nebraska and USC is 5 o'clock. Joining us live from Qualcomm Stadium right now is Steve Mason. Steve, how are you?
I am great. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing great. Our chin straps are on. Our cleats are on. Our pads.
Are your ankles taped?
Oh, they're so taped up. I'm
Have you
numb.
huddled up?
I'm so numb.
Do you have it buckled up yet? Because that's the other thing you need. You got to huddle up and buckle up. Don't just do one.
I won't do it at the same time. I'll do one and then I'll do the other.
Hey, guess
Coach.
what? Steve, my man, happy holidays. I'm in a suit and tie today because I thought you were coming in the studio.
Oh, is that right? No, I am down in beautiful San Diego where, you know what? It is actually, by San Diego standards, I think pretty cold. I think it's probably in the 60s, and last night there was an overnight low of 35 degrees, so this is about as close as we get to Christmas weather here in Southern California. It feels like the holidays, but this is a great matchup, fun matchup. It's 61.3 degrees. That is the current temperature here at Qualcomm Stadium.
Well, what about the atmosphere? How about the atmosphere, buddy?
Oh, the atmosphere is not here yet, Coach. The atmosphere has not arrived. In fact, the place, I don't even think they've opened the doors yet, to be honest with you. There are no fans yet in Qualcomm Stadium. It's sunny. It's brisk. I saw a lot of tailgating out of the parking lot. I also saw some security people who told me that they think it's going to be a very, very big Trojan advantage in terms of fans. A lot more Trojan fans, obviously. A lot of folks coming down from Orange County. You would think some folks in Nebraska might want to make the trip out west, but it's going to be a USC-dominated crowd today, which is good.
It's interesting, Steve, that this is the first time that the Trojans have ever played in the Holiday Bowl, which is kind of odd given its proximity and given the fact that, you look at half these bowl games and there's nobody in the stands, but you get a game down in San Diego, you get USC, it's a quick trip, you don't have to hop on an airplane. Do you think it's going to feel like a home game for the Trojans?
Yeah, I think it is going to feel like a home game for USC. You think about it, there are an awful lot of. I was talking to Gary Paskowitz, who lives down in Newport Beach, and he says, it's just an easy drive for him in Newport Beach. Of course, we got that huge concentration of USC fans in Orange County, so a lot of those folks are certainly going to make the trip. A couple of days after Christmas, good time to make a trip with the family. I also, I think it's funny. It is USC's first trip to the Holiday Bowl, but it's not Steve Sarkisian's first trip to the Holiday Bowl. He, while at Washington, was 1-2 in bowl games, but that one win was here at the Holiday Bowl against Nebraska in 2010. So Sark has literally been here before.
And those are nuggets we only get from Steve Mason, thank God.
No, see, I have this thing called preparation where I study up before the game, and that's one of the things I dug up. So, Coach, how you feeling about this one? What do you think?
Steve, I really feel good about this game. I think the Trojans just have too much team speed. I think they have more to gain from this game. I think it's going to be a Trojan evening. I really do.
Hey, Steve, I know it was short. I know it was sweet. We got to get running.
Wait, I had more to say.
I know you do. But we're going to be catching up with you at the top of the hour. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock. For the coach, Harvey Hyde, I'm Ron Pivo. Steve, thanks for your time. It was short. It was sweet, and we'll catch you next time.